Welcome back. This is going to be what if Deku is rehabbed? Or whatever. It's pretty much, if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's pretty much that Izuku is going to be a villain for some of it, and then he's going to go to UA, and he's going to try to become a hero, pretty much. So yeah, let's begin. We have to start back at when Izuku had, oh, come on, don't, oh no, my phone's gonna be doing this, no, sorry, when Izuku, sorry, I'm just getting set up real quick, there we go, when Izuku was in high school, and Bakugo bullied him even worse for some reason, and Izuku just hates Bakugo, really. And All Might's already told Izuku that he couldn't be a hero. And Izuku's pretty much gave up already. And the teacher said that where people want to go. And when he said UA, you said Katsuki Bakugo, and that's it. And everyone noticed that Midoriya wasn't one of those. Right? And the teacher said, "What do you want to be, Midoriya?" He says, "Not," and Midoriya says, "I'm not being a hero. I have no one that believes in me, so it doesn't matter." Right? And he just pretty much doesn't listen to class for the rest of the day. And Bakugo said, "So you finally gave up on being a hero? Good, right?" And he's all happy about it. And Izuku said, "Yeah, I'm probably gonna take your advice later. Don't know for sure though." And Bakugo said, "Oh, the swan dive? You should. It'll just clog up too much space anyways, right?" And Izuku says, "Sure, yeah." And he walks out, and he doesn't go to the exit. And people notice this, and some people start following him. And they notice that he's heading to the roof. And Bakugo was one of those people that were following him, but he was right behind Izuku, just trying to follow him. And Izuku finally got up top. He took off his shoes and looked at the people that were behind him. He mostly stared at Bakugo and said, "Goodbye." He said, "Goodbye, Katsuki," and jumps. And let's say the teacher through the window saw him. And when Izuku fell, he landed in front of this man in a nice suit, but he looks like he's a portal or something, right? And I'm making Izuku OP in this, just so you know. And I know how I'm doing it. And Izuku mostly believed in devils, right? And Izuku kind of thought he was one of them because he was a nuisance to people, he's thought. And when Izuku fell, he was pretty much blocked out. This portal man took him somewhere, right? But in Izuku's mind, he sees this man in a weird hat and coat type thing. And the man is wearing gloves with symbols on it. And he said, "Hello, boy." And Izuku said, "Who are you?" Right? And, and he says, "Well, I'm..." Hold up, give me a second, I gotta remember his name. Okay. And Izuku just sees this man. And I can't say his name right. Alucard? Alucard, something like that. I'm just gonna call him Alucard, or Card, whatever. I'm just gonna call him whatever. I'll just pronounce his name as best as I can, so please don't judge me by that. And he said, "So you believe in demons, I see." And Izuku says, "Yeah, because I feel like I'm kind of one." And he pretty much tells what happens. And Elcard, or whatever, tells him his name finally. He says, "My name's Elcard," or whatever, right? And he said, "I could give you my powers if you want, but you will be consumed by pretty much hatred." And Izuku said, "Fine, I'll take it." And he said, "Good. I'm gonna be a part of you now." Right? And then they shook, and in the real world, Kurigiri's in, or this portal, and I already said his name. Kurigiri's already is in the bar, right? And he's talking to Shiraki about this boy. And Kurigiri asked, "Do you think you know what his quirk is?" And he said, "Shiraki doesn't know either." And when Izuku woke up, they noticed that Izuku had scars on his eyes and everything like this. Right? He had scars on his face and everything. And they noticed that he healed really quickly. So they think, is it a healing regeneration quirk? Right? And then they ask, "So what's your quirk, kid?" Then he, in his mind, he's asked his Alucard, "Can I tell them?" And he says, "Sure. These are going to be our associates for now." And he says, okay. I don't have a quirk." And he says, "Then how did you heal so fast?" And then he says, "Well, it's easier to show you, I feel like." And then Alucard came from the shadows. He said, "Hello. I'm his demon now." And Shiraki's like, "What the fuck?" And Kurigiri was ready to teleport them away. And Shiraki said, "Hello, so what can you do?" And he said, "I could do multiple things. It's unlimited pretty much, right?" And Shiraki's kind of interested now, because if it's unlimited, he could kill All Might. But he doesn't know how this works, right? And he says, "So, are you only suited for him?" And he says, "Yes. No one else in this room is suited for me." And he says, "I see. And I don't control him. He controls my powers. I'm just here to teach him and watch for the ride, because I've been bored. It's been centuries since I've had some fun. And it's harder to kill when people have these new abilities." Right? And Shiraki's thinking, maybe we should try to take him to a villain. And he looks at Izuku and says, "Do you want to join us?" And Izuku said, "What are you guys?" And he says, "The LOV." And he says, "The League of Villains, huh?" And he's like, "So what's your objective?" And says, "Well, my objective is to kill All Might." Right? And he says, "I'm in." And Izuku's gonna, and now we're gonna time skip to 5 months. Right? And finally, Bakugo's in UA, and they're going to the USJ now. Right? And when they went to the villain attack, Bakugo noticed this. Because Izuku looks like this right now. He noticed that Izuku's wearing... So pretty much Izuku's going to look like this, but he's going to have the two guns Hold on, let me find. Okay, he's gonna have the 2 guns, this red hat, the glasses, and the gloves on. Okay, so yeah. And the gloves have the symbols. Sorry, I clicked out of it. Right, and Bakugo doesn't know for sure if that's him. And Izuku said, "Are my creations ready to go?" Right? And Shiraki says, "Yeah, one of them are, but not both." And he says, "Fine, let's get going." Nomu come out, and one Nomu comes out, right? And Izuku's part of the Vanguard squad. He's the commander. And Shiraki knows that Deku's stronger. So that's why he but Deku has loyalty to Shiraki, right? And Deku put on headphones to listen to music, and Shiraki said, "Really?" And he said, "Yeah." And Kirigiri teleports them away to different areas. Sorry. And Izuku's just watching while these other villains are fighting, is getting beat by this teacher. And Deku noticed that a lot of them are getting pinned down by him. So now Izuku's pretty much coming up now. Stepped up and said, "Shiraki, I'll handle him. Get the rest out of here." And Shiraki said, "Got it." And they got him out. Right? And when you looked at Izuku, you just see this blood curdling. And Izuku says, "So, what's your name, hero?" And you said, "Eraserhead. What about you?" Says, "Oh, one of your students know me." "Isn't that right, Katsuki Bakugo?" And he yelled that out loud. And Bakugo's suspicions finally are true. He didn't want to believe it, but it's true now. And pretty much they're fighting. Izuku's not using any weapons on him yet. He's just dodging and punching Izawa, and Izawa's getting hurt by him. And let's say that Izuku got a quirk on him now, because they experimented with him. Right? And pretty much, let's say that the quirk he got was analyze. So he could analyze their quirks. It's gotta make him OP like that, you know? And Izuku's like, because let's say he has Azawa on his stomach now, and he says, and puts one of the pistols on his head. He says, "Should I kill you right now? You tell me." And Azawa is just stuck. And Ito already ran off to get heroes. Right? And he said, "Nomu, keep him here. I need to go find someone." And he said, "Shiraki, get out just in case when the heroes come, leave. Got it? Take the Nomu with you." And Shiraki said, "But what about you?" He says, "I'll get out. You know I will." Right? He says, "Okay." And he pretty much was ready to leave. But he didn't want to leave Izuku. And, hold on, give me a second, I need to remember something. Okay. And he pretty much got, he was just walking with his pistols behind him pretty much, and he still had music in his ears, so he couldn't really hear anyone sneaking up or going around him. But he did see this girl, the frog-like, and then he saw this great person, and let's say purple hair kid. Yeah, Shinso. Right? And, yeah. And Izuku was just minding his business until the grape kid threw one of the grapes to stop him. And Izuku said, I was gonna let you live, but you tried to attack me, so you die first. And Izuku started walking towards him. And Izuku did step on the grape thing, but it didn't affect him. Right? And then he analyzed all three of those people's quirks. And then Shinzo said, "What's your name?" And Izuku analyzed his quirk, and he knows it's mind read. And he knows how it activates. And Izuku said, "Oh, me? Just call me Deku." And Shinzo said, "Got you." And when he went in, he saw this. He saw Alucard. Right. He saw Alucard like this. He saw Alucard. And he said, "Hello, boy. Welcome to the show." Right. And I'm going back to the photo. Sorry. And let's say All Might comes in now. And he says, "Damn it. At least we have all of our soldiers back in." And then he ran off to catch up with Shiraki. He said, "Shiraki, let's go. Karagiri now." And he got Shiraki and the Nomu out. And Izuku pretty much just lets and says, "Just teleport yourself away. I'll deal with them for now." And he says, "Okay." And Kurogiri says, "Okay." And he left. And All Might said, "That was a dumb move for you to leave." And he said, "No, not really. I'm stronger than you, All Might." "Oh wait, do you not remember me, All Might?" And the heroes can't hear them, except for Izawa, because he's still on the ground, hurt. And Izawa's confused. "Wait, what?" And All Might says, "Wait, you can't be him." And he says, "But it is me." And he says, "But you're quirkless. How are you stronger than me?" he says. And he says, "Oh, I have one quirk at least. That was experimented, I guess." And he says, "What is that?" He says, "Analyze." And Shinzo said, "Watch out. It's just not that." And he says, "Ah, you met Alucard then. Good to know." Right, and Izuku said, "I guess I can't hide my full power then." And Izuku pulled out two of his pistols and said, "Well, let's just have fun." And he just starts shooting. And it's hurting. And surprisingly, people will see it's actually hurting All Might. And All Might doesn't know what's going on. And let's say Snipe starts shooting at him. And it's been hitting Izuku, the bullets. But instantly, you see him regenerating. And let's say all the heroes start fighting him now. And Cementos makes a wall now, right? And Izuku just doesn't care. He's still fighting. He broke through it with ease. And he said, should I summon them now? Because he wants to have fun with the students also. But he was mostly here for, you know who, Bakugo. He said, "I didn't want to fight you people. I just wanted Bakugo." And then All Might said, "All students protect Bakugo just protect Bakugo now." All the students tried to rally up on Bakugo, but Bakugo didn't care. Bakugo didn't have anything to say. He was just trying to get closer to Deku. Right? And he says, Izuku! He yelled that at him, and he said, "Oh, Katsuki Bakugo, you do remember me." Right? And let's say he punched All Might off of him. With the one blow, All Might went flying. And Cementos was making walls, too, in front of him to stop him. But Izuku is just walking pretty much through them with all of his brute strength. And then Bakugo said, "Why are you doing this, Izuku?" And Izuku stopped moving and looked down. And if you paid attention, you see him crying. And you say, "Katsuki Bakugo, it's you and All Might's fault, right?" And Deku was just frozen, and more people heard this now. They're like, All Might's. And then you see Deku saying, "You could take control for now, just don't kill anyone yet." Right? And he says, "Fine." And, hold on, there we go. And Helsing comes in. And he's like, finally I could have fun. And he summons a few undead to start attacking people. And he just keeps walking towards Bakugo. And he finally got to Bakugo and said, "I'll let him talk to you." And he transformed back into Izuku. And Izuku staring at him. Now he looks like this because his eyes are red now. He says, "Katsuki Bakugo, isn't this what you wanted this to happen, right?" And let's say Kirishima's trying to get by. Pretty much all the Class 1A students are trying to get by. And the heroes are trying to also get by. And All Might's getting through these soldiers that he summoned. But there's so many that he has to help other heroes out. And Snipe is kind of getting overwhelmed by them. And, sorry. My God. And he said, Izuku just sat down and said, "Sit, Bakugo. I want to talk to you." And Bakugo sat down, and pretty much Izuku unsummoned all of his undead. And he said, "So, how's life been?" In a weird tone. And Bakugo told him what's happened ever since. He's like, "Huh, I see. How's your mother been?" He says, "She's been good." And he says, "Good, that's good. So, it seems like you've been doing well?" And Bakugo says, "Yeah. Why are you doing this right now?" He says, "Well, I was gonna turn myself in. I was getting bored, and I missed my best friend." Right? And Izuku started crying now. And All Might comes in and throws Izuku's head down on the ground. But then Izuku just kicked him off of him. And he said, "Well, I can't turn myself in fully yet. Sorry. Well, hopefully I'll see you again, Bakugo." And then he pretty much kicks Bakugo away from him. But Bakugo used his quirk to get back to Izuku and jumped on him. And Izuku was surprised. He says, "Fast, I guess." And then he grabbed his collar and threw him on the ground. Right? And Bakugo is like, "Just stop and turn yourself in. It'll make it easier for both of us." And Izuku said, "I can't do that just yet. I told you that and you're not listening." Right? And let's say Kirishima finally got over there and he started attacking Izuku. And this actually started cutting Izuku down. And Izuku was just staring at him while Kirishima was just punching him over and over. And When he stopped, he said, "Is that it, boy?" And you see him regenerating instantly. And he didn't even know what was going on, right? And he said, "It's my turn now." But before he could do anything, All Might got him from the back again. But this time, knocking him out. And they put him in custody. They put him in, like, all-for-one custody. But they didn't take him to prison yet. And they pretty much put him in an observation room in UA. And some of the students were hurt a little bit, right? And Izuku's like, you guys can't stop me like this. And they said, wait, what? And Izuku just walked out, right? And Izuku said, so, cop, can you come here real quick? And the cop walked up, and Izawa stabbed him. Izuku stabbed him with his hand. And the heroes were about to jump in, but then instead of blood coming out, he just disappeared. And Izuku said, God damn it. It was a fake one. Fuck. And they said, what was a fake one? And he says, I don't kill people. I kill if I have to. And I have orders to kill. But usually I kill demons that are trying to kill people like you heroes. Right? And then Alucard comes out and he says, hello, I'm back. And he says, yes, what this young man said is true. We don't kill unless we have orders. And then he said, so who do you get orders from? He says, I can't tell you. Right? And then Izuku says, can I go? I haven't killed anyone, actually. So I have no crimes against me. And then he said, well, you did attack UA. That's a crime. He says, oh, I guess, but it doesn't really matter. I was going to turn myself in anytime soon. And Ozawa says, weren't we thinking about that program? And then all the heroes were talking, and they said, well, should we do that with him? And they said, it's, I guess, but we're going to have to keep him, they pretty much take him into custody. Or no, they say, well, we're going to have to keep a surveillance on him at all times. And he's like, that's okay then. Right? And Izuku's like, okay, I'm going to take off these restraints. And he just breaks them. And Izuku's teeth look like a basilisk. But when he wants them to, they'll just look normal. Right? And let's say, yeah. And they take him to class one day. Let's say it's been a week since that. And Izuku's been doing community service to pretty much release him from, prison and stuff. In the community service, he had to do 30 hours, and he's already done with it, so he could just roam around. He doesn't have to keep doing the community service. And he came in with Izawa into class one day, and everyone got on defensive except for Bakugo. And Bakugo said, Izuku? And Izuku said, hello, Katsuki. And it looks like I'll be joining the school for today, for now on. Right? And let's say Shiraki figured this out. Right? And he was outside the gates, and he said, I want to talk to Izuku Midoriya. And he had a Nomu with him. Izuku came out and said, hello, Shigaraki. And he says, "Are you coming back?" And he says, "No, I'm sorry. Keep the Nomu. I would like to fight it on my own times, would you?" And Shiraki said, "Sure." And Shiraki hugged Izuku, but not killing him. He said, "Hopefully, I'm not going to kill you. I don't even want to kill you anymore. You were a good student, you know?" And he said, "Yeah, I couldn't really live unless it was to you guys. Thank you for giving me a home, right?" And he hugged Shiraki. And Kodagiri teleported Shiraki away with the Nomo. And pretty much the League of Villains just disappeared, really. There was no more really active things from them. And Shiraki and Izuku pretty much figured out that Shiraki turned himself in. And he's just been doing community service, really. And it's been like a month, yeah. And they tell them about the dorms. And Izuku's like, okay, I guess. And then Izawa says something about the sports festival. And Izuku says, "Oh, this is going to be fun to watch you guys battle." Right? And people still don't really trust Izuku except for Bakugo and some other people. Kirishima trusts him a little bit, but not so much. Right? And let's say Uraka has been dating has been dating Bakugo. Right? And they said, "So, what's your kill count?" Because they never really asked him. And he says, "Oh, my kill count? Well, if it's humans or demons, which one are you talking about?" And they say, "Wait, demons?" And he says, "Yeah." He says, "Well, I have a quirk." And then they said, "Wait, then what's up with all you raising the dead and everything?" He says, "Oh, that's just my devil. Or demon, whatever you want to call him. Alucard, his name is Alucard. I pretty much took control of his powers and everything." And they're like, "Is he still here?" He's like, "Yes, he's always been here. He's been in the shadows with me, usually." And Alucard just comes out of the shadow. Right, and he says, "Hello." Right. And they just pretty much were shocked about him. And then Alucard says, "Okay, I'm gonna take a nap again." And head back to went to take a nap. Right, and Izuku pretty much just lets himself. And Zawa explained that Izuku will be able to do the sports festival. And Izuku's like, "Huh, nice." And recently there's been a new type of villains coming out. And no one really knows who they are. The only person that really kind of knows them is Izuku, and he's met one of them before. And the girl had red hair, and the cork pretty much hardened her hair in a way, and it was sharp and everything. If you don't know what I'm talking about Nine, the villain Nine in the new movie of My Hero. Right, it's that girl. So yeah. And Izuku has properties pretty much of darkness in a way. And he really does. He's been getting used to the kids, but a lot of the kids still don't trust him. Mostly Class 1B doesn't. The only person that really trusts him there is Kendo and Tetsu. Right? And they're really. And when, let's say it's the day of the sports festival now. But no, let's say it's a week before the sports festival, right? And Izuku was making lunch, or breakfast, or no, whatever it's fucking called, dinner, there. Fuck, I couldn't say shit. Was making dinner for everyone. And a lot of people, some people know that because they've gotten dinner made by him once or so. and some people haven't, so they're cautious about it. And Izuku makes eggs, ramen, or whatever it's called, and sushi and stuff like that. And pretty much, he makes it for everyone and tells it's time to eat. And he sat down and waited for people to come. Right. And sorry. There we go. Anyways, where was I? And they were all eating and they enjoyed it. No one felt sick after it or anything. And they pretty much just didn't care. Some people started trusting Izuku now more. Some still didn't trust him. Some barely ate and just threw the rest away. And then, let's say now it's the sports festival. And everyone got ready to run. And Mike said go. Todoroki did the exact same thing. Right? And, hold on. And instead of him being in first, Deku is out of there before anything. Right? And he took down 3 0-pointers with 3 bullets from his guns. And everyone noticed that he was a villain. And everyone was getting cautious about this. Even some of the heroes came down to stop Izuku. But Izuku just pushed them out of the way and kept running. And Mike yelled, "Stop! He is he's a student here. Get back into stands." And the heroes got back into stands, and people were just watching mostly. And when it got to the Chervine, he waited for some people because he didn't want to be first, really. He wanted to race people. And let's say Bakugo came then. And he's like, and Bakugo stopped for a second and said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Well, I was bored. I kind of wanted people to see me. Be excellent, right?" And then he started talking to Bakugo. And then multiple students start rushing in. He's like, "Well, I better get going." And he's like, "Wait, Izuku, where are you going then?" He says, "Oh, simple. To go get first." And boom. He was just pretty much walking in air. And everyone was just shocked by this. And just kept going and walking and walking. He didn't, and Todoroki was right behind him using ice to cover his fall. Right, Bakugo was just using explosions and stuff, and then Izuku started running. Right, and the mines were actual mines this time. They weren't fake ones, because students had to figure out how to disarm them and work as a team. And Izuku didn't know that, really, because he was just late to class for that, or whatever. And Izuku walked on one, and it exploded. And everyone saw his leg just went everywhere. And all of a sudden, you see him regenerate a leg. It's like, oh, yeah, so they're real mines. Doesn't matter. And just starts walking still. They keep exploding, he keeps regenerating. It's like instantly he regenerates a body part back. And let's say they're, which girl should it be? Let's say, a certain, I'm trying to think of a girl. Let's say, Jiro has been actually dating Izuku for a little bit. And Izuku's getting annoyed of her because she keeps picking with him. Actually, no, I'll make a series about that later. I'll make another series after this, probably. So you guys kind of got a little hint about it. Anyways, and when he just got to the end, most of the mines were popped off, went out. And kids that disarmed them were just right. Pretty much all of the students were now behind Izuku, trying to beat him. Right, all the speed people are trying to get behind him or get in front of him now, and just everyone's trying to get above him. And Izuku's just jogging, really. He says, "If I ran, this would have been done for me a while ago." Right? And they said, "Sure, whatever." Izuku says, "Okay." And he actually takes one step before running, and he's gone. It's a big crater, and he accidentally broke a wall for the stadium. He went through a wall, and it looked like his leg was broken because you could see bone, and then it just regenerated. Some people were sick by this, right? And yeah, and when everyone else caught up, they explained to first point, right? And Izuki said, good, competition will be coming my way, right? And Hall is all happy about it, right? And sorry, they were just pretty much walking around, didn't really care. And they talked about the cavalry, and they had 10 minutes to get a team. Pretty much everyone teamed up with everyone else except for Deku. And Deku was the only person that didn't have a team. And they said, Izuku, you could join someone unless you want to be by yourself. And Izuku said, is that an option if I could be by myself? And they said, yeah. He said, I'll take by myself. And everyone said, okay, that's cocky of him now. And when they said go, Izuku was just walking, really. And he pulled out two of his pistols, and they weren't going to kill anyone. Because he wasn't putting that pretty much, like, he could control how much damage it does, and he's just doing it to stun them for a little bit, right? And he starts shooting people. He just starts shooting them instantly, over and over, in different hand formations also. And when Izuku was just done shooting everyone was kind of had scratches on them and everything. Right? And then he analyzed a lot of people. But when he analyzed all of everyone, he started to shake a little bit. And everyone thought, it's our time. And they all started rushing him. They just started rushing him from all directions, even from the sky. And Izuku's like, that's how we're playing, I see. Right? And then he pretty much jumps up and he says, I cannot analyze that many people's quirks at once again. And he says, okay. He got back up and started to run around everyone. Right? And he just kept running around. Right? And when he was running around, people couldn't really catch him up. Then Todoroki used his ice on the ground, and a lot of teams jumped actually up together. But some teams got stuck in the ground. And Izuku's took the ones that were stuck. Right? And hold on. Ugh. There we go. Sorry. And the rest of the team started pushing him. And Izuku's like, this is fun. And he says, you guys are glad I didn't use my team. Or got a real team on me. And they said, what do you mean? And Todoroki was just had enough. He started using ice with his team with different combinations. Right? And Izuku's just letting this really. He let them all start attacking him and let him hit him. And he's like, not bad. And let's say someone actually pierced him in, like, his eye. And some people were disgusted by this. And he just pulled out whatever was pierced his eye, and it just regenerated it back to a red. And he says, my turn. And he pulled out 2 pistols again and started shooting everyone with more pressure, that it actually kind of scratches them more. And he just kept shooting, and it's held back everyone. And then he got bullets that made smoke. He just shot 3 on the ground and ran off. And he got out of, and then boom, the timer was up. And when the smoke cleared out, Izuku was just sitting down on the other side of the arena. Sorry, I got hiccups. Right, and yeah, and then was the 1 versus 1, right? And the first match was Izuku versus Shinso. And Shinso has actually been training. And he just knew that he couldn't knock him out. So he just was going to try to push him out. And Shinso grabbed him from the neck and threw him down to the ground, to the edge, but it didn't get him out because Izuku caught himself. And he said, so, knock you out, right? Or I just have to, what? And Shinso said, push me out. Right? And some kids are wondering, why isn't Shinso using his quirk? Right? And they were just confused about it, because a lot of kids figured out, no, what his quirk is now. Everything. Don't you know me? Sorry. And they were just trying to get out, pretty much. And then Izuku just put his hand on his chest, and boom, a burst of air pretty much just pushed him back out. But before he even got out, Izuku caught him, he said, can't hurt you right now, and just dropped him out. Right? And Midoriya won that round. And then hold on, give me a second. Anyways, and they were just, hold on, and they pretty much did all the fights. Otaku versus Bakugo. Bakugo and Otaku were going as hard, but Bakugo wasn't going his best, because they've been dating, you know. And Izuku says, this is boring. And everyone heard this and looked at him and said, what do you mean? They're not going as hard as they can because they're dating. And Hiroshima says, well, that's what Bakugo does. He's manly like that. And Izuku laughed at that for pretty much the whole entire match. Right? And he's like, sure, whatever you say, child. Right? And when it was his turn against Todoroki said, I'm not going to use my fire on you. And, and Izuku said, then I can't use my full abilities on you. He says, fine, I'll just do this then. And all he just did was just get out his pistols and just started pushing him back with shooting. And he was just shooting him, the bullets were going through the ice and just kept pushing him out. And when he was on the edge, Todoroki used ice to block it off. But Izuku just kept shooting, and he's like, I'm just using probably 5% of my power I could do on you. You're not using 100, so I shouldn't be using 100. And he just kept shooting, and he says, oh, well, let me guess. Your father kept hurting you so much that you stopped using his own ability. Right? And Todoroki said, shut up. He's like, no, I shouldn't. He's like, no, I'm good. You're just too weak to use his ability because you think you're going to act up like him. Dude, it's literally your quirk. It's a combination of yours and his. Grow up, right? And then Todoroki started using his fire at like how it was. And Izuku was happy about this. He's like, oh, finally. Right? And all of... And you just see Izuku start kind of growing a little bit more, and then you see soldiers come out of the ground, and he pulled out his pistols and just kept shooting and shooting, and this aura, blood curdling aura, and the soldiers that he summoned had horses, and they charged at him, and he had to block them off, and everyone was surprised of how strong these two were, but mostly how many things that Izuku could do. And they were just kept fighting and fighting for so long. And finally, Izuku is like, that's enough. And just pushed him back like he did to Sensho, but actually let him hit the wall. Right. And yeah. And Izuku won that. The same matches go on, but when Bakugo went against Dark Shadow or whatever his name is, right? Was just having Bakugo was just too shocked and lost. And when Dark Shadow went against, well, Deku, Dark Shadow was ready to fight, and they were just charging at Izuku. But Izuku was unhappy now, right? He was just unhappy. And was just dodging and walking around, really. And people were confused, why isn't he attacking? And Izuku said, I'm too bored. What is this, the last match? And he said, no, if I win, I have to go against Uraraka. If you win, you have to go against Uraraka. Right? And he says, okay then. And he's like, good. I guess I still have to fight then. And Tokiyami, that's his name. Tokiyami finally started cutting Izuku with Dark Shadow. And Dark Shadow just kept attacking him, right? And Izuku's enjoying this. He says, it's pain. 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 Keeps saying it over and over. And everyone doesn't know what's going on with Izuku. He says, I should probably stop now, huh? Should probably stop letting you do this. And he caught both fists of Dark Shadow. He said, okay, let's do this. And he threw him out. But he did catch him again and just let him down and patted his shoulders and said, there you go. It was a fun match. Just get stronger to beat me next time, okay? And everyone was just in shock. And then they said, the last match is coming up. Ochako Uraraka versus Izuku Midoriya. And let's say sure, Rocky's been watching from like a cell. And he's like, he's done well. This kid's done very well, right? And when Ochako started going for attacks, right, Izuku is like, go ahead. I'll be waiting, right? And oh god, I almost had to redo this. And she starts collecting gravel and everything and starts making a flow. Right? And Izuku's like, okay, you done? And She said, yeah, getting tired and everything. And he says, good. And he starts walking, and she really lets it all down now. She just let it all down on him. And it actually started hurting him. You could hear him go, oh, that stings a little. Right, and he just said, that stings. Maybe if more gravel fell on me, maybe I could have had to regenerate ultraly. But, and then he pretty much, it's like, my turn. And you see him pull out just one pistol, and she's like, wait, what? Why aren't you using two? And he says, you're a waste of my time. And starts walking closer and closer. And she's just frozen. Right? And Bakugo was mad about this. He was trying to jump down to teach Deku a lesson. But everyone holded him back. And he said, let him. It'll be fun for me. And they just let him go, and Bakugo started coming at him, using explosions and everything. And Izuku just kept fighting him, with Ochako trying to use gravel to hit him. Right? And Izuku is just taking these to the face and everything. And finally, and Bakugo accidentally messed up his hair. And that's when Deku snapped. He said, you know how long it took me to do this? And he fixed his hair quickly. And then he just like, okay, that's enough. He snapped, and all of a sudden, you see this big you just see him have this aura around him, and this red slime thing coming from behind him. And he's like, and he just lets it all out, and it started burning the ground. And Bakugo didn't know what that was. And he kept attacking Izuku, but then he stopped the slime and just let it, and just pretty much returned it back to himself. And Izuku just got out both of his pistols and started shooting both of them, and they finally went out. But with Bakugo, he kept in and kept pushing him around, catching him, and kept throwing him down. And let's say Cementos, Midnight, a lot of heroes have started to try to stop Izuku. Right? But it wouldn't, but he just kept doing that. Kept messing around with Bakugo, and then he's like, fine, I'll end this real quick. And he pushed out Bakugo with his hands. And yeah. And hold up. And pretty much they just let him. And they said, Izuku Midoriya wins. And everyone was just not shocked about this. They put the medals on. All Might was just in shock. And he says, here you go, villain. And Izuku says, thank you. Right? And just allows it. And sorry. And they pretty much, when Izuku's walking out, Monoma's like, why did we even let a villain in? Right? And Izuku said, well, if I had a choice, I would have just left. Right? I would not do this. I hate heroes so much. But I had to do this. Right? And Izuku just didn't care, really. He said, whatever. And let's say they finally, they just get to their dorms and they just all take naps and whatever, recover, really. Izuku just went on to cook himself something to eat. And that's where I'm going to end it, guys. Thank you guys for watching. I'm going to probably make another video real quick. I'm probably going to do the, hold on, let me see. Probably going to do another part of Demon King, maybe Magician, or I'm going to do What if Deku was a werewolf? I know that I look back at it and it's weird. Or I might just start a new series. Actually, I'll probably just start a new series today. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Goodbye.